The weather outside is humid. She turned off her location. She must think I'm stupid. She wanna run the street, so let her ho, let her ho, let her ho.
That is right. The holiday season has officially started. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow my TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. It's December already. Oh my god. But also, I just realized what day it is today. I just want to give a major happy birthday to Corey freaking Taylor. Yes, today is his birthday, December the 8th. That's why I'm like, why is this day so familiar? You know, ever since I was a teenager, I always had their birthdays memorized. But I'm like, sometimes I forget. But good thing we're doing it on his actual birthday. So I'm like, yes, happy birthday to Corey Taylor. He's already 51. Oh my god, he's old. He's a grandpa at this point. But anywho, in case you missed it, I took my Thanksgiving break last week, which is why there was no podcast episode. But a lot has happened, not only that week, but also this past week that just happened. So we need to talk really quick though. So 2 weeks ago on the last episode that we were talking and everything, I did mention that I really wanted to go to the Survivor Series watch party. And yes, I made it. Oh my god. So it was not this past Saturday, like yesterday. It was the week before. So if you have a TikTok account, again, go follow it. But you will see that video that I briefly recorded where there was a bunch of WWE fans that were like cheering for Jey Uso during his entrance. And people like on the comment sections were just like asking like, oh, where was this at? Or how come I don't have this in my city? You know, and I really love how the wrestling community all just bonded on there. And some of them, like I want to say Dallas in particular, and I want to say maybe in San Antonio. But like one person was like, oh, we need to have this in Dallas. And other people started jumping into that one little thread, I guess we would say. And some were saying, oh yeah, we need to organize it. And one person's like, let's open a Discord channel. And I'm like, we need one for Houston. Like, damn. But here's the thing. Shout out to my friend Fiend Warrior 39 for inviting me. Like, we had so much fun. But if you are in the Houston area, like, give the man a follow. Because again, he's pretty cool at, you know, keeping you guys updated on events that are happening like here in Houston. But also like other things that he has like thoughts and theories in wrestling. But also Apollo HOU, if you guys happen to have like an Instagram, TikTok, and I think they have a Facebook page, they're the ones organizing these events. So they will be like, oh hey, we're gonna be, you know, hosting this watch party at so and so place, you know, join in. And that's how I knew about it too, because they also commented on my video. They were saying, oh yeah, well thanks for coming out, like follow Apollo HOU. And I follow them on Instagram because on TikTok, every time I follow somebody, it's like I don't see most of their videos because I'm always on my For You feed. I'm never on the friends or who I'm following feed. It's only on the For You. So I'm like, let me just follow them on Instagram, and that way I get some updates. So if you guys are following the podcast and are listening in Houston, I got you guys covered. But yes, definitely go check out that video if you guys have a TikTok account. And then before we even kick this episode off, I just want to take a minute and thank all the listeners, old and new, because I got my Spotify wrap for the podcast and I am at loss of words. Like, the podcast grew, and I feel like it was because of the consistency of finally uploading frequently, like every freaking Sunday. I was trying to make sure, like, okay, I try my best not to take breaks, this and that, even though things happen, and sometimes, again, some people just need a holiday break. But I am really thinking about growing this podcast even further on YouTube, which is why y'all need to subscribe. But stay tuned next year to see what I do, and also follow the social media account, because again, next year is gonna be a wild ride. But yes, this week we're gonna be talking about my Spotify wrap. We're also gonna be talking about Wicked, the results of last week's Survivor Series War Games, and last night's NXT Deadline results, and more things you may have missed in pop culture. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this episode started. literally last week and then this coming week I was like praying and hoping, please let there not be a death for me to announce. And yet we ended up having one. But surprisingly, like, this one is iffy for me. Why? Because I mean, I like My Chemical Romance, okay? Don't get me wrong. But the members itself, especially one person in particular who happened to pass away back in November 29th. I think this was after Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving. I don't remember. But the former drummer of MCR, Bob Breyer, unfortunately passed away at 44. So here's the thing about him. There has been so much shit talking about this particular person because of the things he has said on social media that may not have been appealing to My Chemical Romance fans. So the only thing I will say is, okay, thoughts and prayers, and we're gonna go ahead and move it along. He passed away at 44, and at the same time I'm over here thinking, damn, I thought he'd be younger, but at the same time I'm like, My Chemical Romance is like pretty old. So yeah, anywho, so yeah, if you guys are a fan of him, that's y'all. Me, after reading what was said, I'm like, you know what, yeah, no, I'm just gonna mention it and move it along. The other thing before we kick off the movies category, this is kind of like sentimental for me, and I think a lot of people who grew up watching The Crocodile Hunter have also been keeping up with Steve Irwin's kids. You know, we already saw Bindi Irwin, you know, getting married, having a kid, and all of us are saying, oh my god, Steve's a grandpa in heaven. But then next thing we know, back in Australia, this, I want to say it's like a tourist attraction, I don't even know, but it's called Madame Tussauds, I think. They have like a location in New York, and they also have one in Las Vegas where they create celebrity wax figures for, you know, like fans to go visit, take pictures and whatnot. So I didn't know they have a location in Australia, and they actually made a wax figure of Steve Irwin. And so like I go on Instagram, and the first thing I see is Robert Irwin, you know, Steve's youngest son, like next to the wax figure, and I was not expecting a video. And all you see is Robert saying, you know, quote, it's the first time in a long time that he's not just a picture. And I'm like, oh my god, please, like, I'm over here feeling emotional just by seeing that. And yeah, because it's kind of sad. He's used to seeing pictures and whatnot, and just seeing a life-size wax figure. You see the video where, you know, Robert gets emotional and he just walks off. And everybody in the comment section, and including myself, actually do agree that they should have just let Robert have like his own private moment with the wax figure. Oh my god, I'm over here getting all emotional just by thinking about it. And then step away from the fame, because it looks like Robert just didn't want to cry in front of all the people that were there taking pictures, recording and whatnot. So it's very understandable, and yeah, they should have just go ahead and let him have like his own personal moment. But I feel like maybe in the future, I'm not sure, but it was so pretty. Definitely go check it out if you guys are ever in Australia, or my Australian listeners. Definitely go check out that wax figure. But yeah, it's only in that location in Australia. I feel like the other locations, like in Las Vegas and New York, they all have different celebrity wax figures. So like if you guys are ever planning to go visit, just check the website, so that way you know which celebrities are featured for that particular location. Now let's go ahead and kick off the movies category. And already I'm like, damn, how many people are gonna star in the next Christopher Nolan film? Why do I say this? Because now the next person that's going to be joining this project is none other than Charlize Theron. And I'm like, what the hell? So again, I think the last previous episode that we had, we mentioned like all the jam-packed actors. Like we have Tom Holland, Matt Damon. But again, it's like Charlize is going to be in there. And I'm like, who in the hell is gonna be the villain in this film? But then like on the other side, I'm over here like, what is this movie gonna be about? So it's like, either way, we're kind of excited already. Like on some of the comment section, I think the first thing I see is one person saying, damn, is everybody in the film? Either way, as mentioned before, whenever that trailer comes out, we're gonna be talking about it. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. The next thing I wanted to talk about is that we finally got the new trailer for Sonic 3, and we finally got confirmation that Shadow will be holding guns, just like in the cartoons or in the game, like we've seen it before. I already know this movie is going to be breathtaking, so again, Sonic 3 will be releasing in theaters on December 20th, literally next week. I'm excited. The next thing we need to talk about is James Gunn. So he mentioned in an interview that he has a different strategy compared to other companies because there has been so many movies that have been delayed. Like, we get the announcement and then next thing you know, it was scheduled for a set date, but then we get it later and we're all complaining and whatnot. But James Gunn says that supposedly like the release schedule for the DC universe won't be like Marvel, I guess, saying because nothing is greenlit before we have a finished script. What does this mean? The people are wondering, okay, are they not filming until the script is finished? Or are they not announcing the projects until there's a finished script? Like, which one is it? Because at the same time, you know, like for example, Marvel scrapping off Blade and then, well, Gambit after that. It's like, well, what the hell? Like, we were having our high hopes for these movies, but then we're never going to get them after all. Like, what is going to be James Gunn's strategy with the DCU when it comes to these movies? Because again, the DC universe doesn't have like that many good movies that have been releasing where it does have like a positive reception, like doing better at the box office and whatnot. But then when you compare it to like Sony's Spider-Verse, it's like, okay, that one's like way lower expectations, this and that. And Kraven the Hunter is almost coming out, so I'm like, but we'll see what James Gunn has planned, because there has been some projects where he was behind it and it did well, but again, only time will tell. Another thing he also added is that he's already tired of seeing superhero origin story just like everybody else. I mean, me particularly, I hate reboots, okay? I hate that we already seen so many movies and yet they still have to reboot it. Give us the same origin story that we already know, so like it makes sense. Now my thing is that if James Gunn said this, I wonder how the Superman movie that's gonna be coming out, is it gonna have an origin story or are we just gonna dive into the battle? So I can't wait to see what he's gonna bring in, especially for the DC universe. Now let's go ahead and move it along. So we finally got the first poster for 28 years later, and I'm like, honestly, is it me? Or like whenever I look at it, why is it giving me As Above, So Below, you know, the one with the Paris Catacombs poster-ish? Only the red and the black is what's screaming at me. But also, I really love how the skulls are shaping out the biohazard symbol. And at the same time, I feel like this movie's gonna be really, really bloody. I can't wait. I mean, obviously we see Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson's name, and then Ralph Fiennes. I think that's how you pronounce it. But at the same time, it just says underneath, time didn't heal anything. In cinemas only, coming soon. And I'm like, can we already get the trailer, please? And thank you. I can't wait to watch it. I feel like this movie is definitely gonna give me the creeps. And it's motivating me to go rewatch the original 2 movies. I haven't seen them in a while, to a point that I already forgot the plot. So yeah, definitely go check it out if you haven't done so. And then potentially whenever this movie comes out, we'll get to talk about it. And then we have a quick update for Fantastic Four. So they just announced they have wrapped filming and for sure greenlit that this movie will be released on July 25th of next year. Hooray, I can't wait. In other news, Ridley Scott says there will, quote, certainly be a Gladiator 3. I feel like the reception obviously was positive for this, and I kind of blame Pedro Pascal because of it. But it wasn't enough to beat Wicked. Wicked has been dominating the box office, which I'll briefly mention at the very end, my thoughts on it. But I still haven't seen Gladiator 2. I need to watch the first one so that way I'm not confused with the second one. And I haven't heard other people's reviews. I'm pretty sure they probably say, oh, you don't need to watch the first one. But I'm like, I want to be legit. I don't want to be confused, okay? So, I don't know. Eventually, maybe like later on, I'll watch it. I won't have to do a review for it though because it's going to be too late. So, yeah. But if you guys are interested, definitely go watch the second Gladiator movie, which is currently in theaters. The next thing I wanted to talk about, we briefly mentioned it in previous episodes, like Variety's Actors on Actors interviews that they have. And I found out that they just released the list of episodes they're going to have for their 21st season already. I'm like, damn, how many did I miss? But kicking off tomorrow, literally on December 9th, there's going to be an episode where it's Andrew Garfield and Ryan Reynolds in one room just talking it out. I'm pretty sure they're going to be broing it out. And I'm like, damn, I kind of want to watch that. But the rest of the lineups, I'm like, it's pretty cool. So hear me out. On December 10th, the following day, it's going to be Ariana Grande and Paul Mescal. We had something similar, you know, with Barbenheimer. We had Cillian Murphy and Margot Robbie, and I think we talked about it before. And this one, since Gladiator 2 and Wicked got released on the same day, which I called it Wickiator. They're going to be in the same room talking about it, but, you know, it had to be Ariana Grande. We'll see how that conversation is going to be. And then the next day on December 11th, we have Saoirse Ronan and Selena Gomez. December 12th, I'm definitely going to be watching it because it's going to be Angelina Jolie and Cynthia Erivo. I'm like, the queens. Oh my God. I mean, Angelina Jolie had to play the story of a villain, Maleficent, and then Cynthia Erivo did, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West, which again, I'll give you my thoughts just in a bit. Let me finish this list. And then on December 13th, which happens to be on a Friday the 13th on the December, what? We have Nicole Kidman and Zendaya. So interesting again. December 14th, we have Drew Starkey and Harris Dickinson. December 15th, we have Kate Winslet and Zoe Saldana. December 16th, we have Daniel Craig and Josh O'Connor. December 17th, we have Mickey Madison and Pamela Anderson. December 18th, we have Coleman Domingo and Kieran Culkin. I'm like, damn, that one's gonna be also interesting. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be broing it out too. So there's that. And then December 19th, we have Amy Adams and Demi Moore. And lastly, to wrap up that season, is gonna be on December 20th, Adrian Brody and Tilda Swinton. I'm like, hopefully they talk about really great topics, and then potentially next week we'll cover the ones that have been released, and then we'll see if there's a discussion that we need to mention. All right, and then before I wrap up the movies category, we definitely need to talk about Wicked. So I watched it literally on Thursday, on Thanksgiving Day. It was like first thing in the morning, and all because for some reason my TikTok feed was filled with so much Wicked clips. And I watched one in particular where Glinda is trying to make a connection with Elphaba, because everybody was bullying Elphaba, you know, because she's green. They think she's evil, this and that. And Glinda's like, no, we're gonna be friends, you know, whatever. So here's the thing. I never saw Wicked the musical, okay? But it is now in my bucket list. But I watched this movie, I cried, and I was like, oh my God. Hands down, Cynthia Erivo stole the spotlight. Like, I get it. Everybody's all talking about Ariana Grande being Glinda, this and that. I'm like, no. Because I feel like Cynthia Erivo was the lead. The movie is called Wicked because it's the story of Elphaba, you know, who happens to be the Wicked Witch of the West. But anywho, there is always a story behind the villain. So I knew the Wicked Witch of the West was not pure evil, and that's what this movie was all about. Just basically showing her background and how she became a witch. Or I guess you would say wicked, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna spoil the movie because I think there's some people who, again, have not seen the musical, don't know anything about this movie, and are planning to watch it. So I'm like, okay, we're not gonna talk about spoilers. But here's the thing. I have seen The Wizard of Oz when I was little, which is the reason why I hate tornadoes to this day. But when you watch Wicked, you will never see The Wizard of Oz the same ever again. And then the other thing is that we only got part 1. Wicked Part 2 will be released on November 21st of next year. But why? Because they already filmed both parts. Why in the hell do we gotta wait literally a full year for the next part? And plus, how many parts are there? That's why I'm like, I don't know anything about the musical. So if I do watch the musical, hinting, you know, I need to know how many parts there are, because I don't want to see Wicked Part 3 in literally 2026. But then again, I'm like, if I watch the musical, I think I'll know by then. And then I have seen videos on my TikTok of people just explaining the plot of Wicked, like literally the musical, and how there's connections to The Wizard of Oz, because technically Wicked is a prequel of The Wizard of Oz. So I'm over here like, great. So now I know how the story connects. So yeah, great. But I would have loved to see like the actual movie and make the connections myself. But at the same time, I'm like, ugh. And it's a book, by the way, too. I did not know this. There's a book of Wicked, which I don't know what came first, the musical or the book. Either way, you guys already know I'm really bad at reading because I will fall asleep the moment I start reading. So I'm like, okay, I'd rather just watch the musical. So there's that. But anywho, if you guys have not watched Wicked, I highly recommend it for those that are, I guess, fans of musicals. Now I know where the song Popular originated. I've heard it before, but I never knew like it was from Wicked. Because whenever Ariana Grande is like, you will be popular, you're gonna be popular, I was like, why does this sound familiar? Like, I never knew it came from that. So, yeah, that's how you know I was very ignorant with that. So, but I'm glad I watched it. So, yeah, I can't wait to see the second part. I'm already like, ugh, like, it was really good. And I'm telling you, when I saw Cynthia Erivo, bring Elphaba on screen, oh my god, hands down, yeah. I don't know about the previous people that have played Elphaba, whether if it's in the musical or God knows what. No, Cynthia Erivo takes the cake for this one, because wow, those vocals, oh my god. But anywho, with that being said, that wraps up the movies category. Let's go ahead and talk about TV. So a couple days ago, we got the first teaser of the Pac-Man episode of Secret Level, and it is not what I thought it would be. So think Cade 6 from Destiny, but in a different shape phase, and that's technically Pac-Man. So the trailer shows like Pac-Man on a hunt for survival, and then I forgot what they call those blue little thingy-majavers, the ones with the colors that Pac-Man is supposed to eat once they turn blue. Well, apparently on Secret Level, they look like massive creatures. So I'm curious to see how this episode is going to play out. Good news is we only got 2 days left until Secret Level is available on Prime Video. So yeah, we're probably going to be talking about the episodes next week. In other news, I think The Boys is already filming, and they actually released the title of the first episode that's going to be out on season 5. And it's called, quote, 15 inches of sheer dynamite. Ooh. What could this possibly be? The only thing I can assume is something's gonna explode. Already it's gonna kick off with a bang. Anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. So we got news that Alien Earth, the TV series, is gonna be taking place in 2120, literally less than 100 years from what we're living on today. But it says timeline-wise in Alien is going to be 2 years before the OG Alien film. Oh, great. So it's going to be a prequel at the end of the day. And I feel like some people are just like, fed up with the Alien story. I mean, at the same time, did I tell you guys I finally watched Alien Romulus? Because that movie was fucking interesting. I liked it, and now I understand why they want to continue the Aliens franchise, but mostly focusing on Romulus. Now, in other news, I know we talked about Harry Potter getting a TV series and then how HBO is backing it up with J.K. Rowling, and it's looking like they're already casting people. So far, we already got Papa Isaidu casted as Severus Snape. So he has been in a movie called I May Destroy You, that's also available on Max. Outrun, Black Mirror, Black Doves. So yeah, definitely check it out to see his work if you guys are interested in watching the Harry Potter series. Again, I'm not big on Harry Potter, so I'm not gonna even bother watching it. And that's all I have for you guys in the TV category. I do have one minor book news, and obviously we already know if I'm gonna be talking about books, it's gonna be George R.R. Martin. So he talks about supposedly his struggles on finishing the Winds of Winter book. So he already knows he's 13 years late. But here's the thing. So I keep saying my theory is that this book is going to get released like after he passes away. God forbid though. And then he also did say that he's not going to retire because he doesn't like golf. But here's one comment that I saw from Trav_Q. And it's kind of making me think differently now. So he said, genuinely believe that the theory that the show ending was close to his book ending, and that the fans hated it so much that it deeply upset him. And now he has no way to write his way out of that ending because he knows the reaction already. I really like that theory that maybe potentially George R.R. Martin at this point, he is having maybe like, I won't say like an anxiety attack, but I guess he is just stressing himself so much to a point that he's thinking ahead like about the negative reactions. But at the same time, I feel like people that are fans of the book probably won't care what George R.R. Martin writes as for the ending for the A Song of Ice and Fire story plot, whatever you guys want to call it. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, he's the one that created the story. He gets to have a say of how it should end, regardless of what the fans say. At the same time, he did mention that his finale was not the same as the one in the TV series, you know, for the finale of Game of Thrones. So some of us are like feeling hopeful that he would change the story of what the fans want. So I'm like, my boy is stressed. At the same time, we kind of want to know how it's supposed to end. We can't just leave it out there in the open. So I don't know. Thoughts on this? And with that being said, let's go ahead and kick off the music category. We have a lot. Literally, we got to talk about my Spotify rap, and then we still got to talk about the major tour announcements that we got. But yes, Spotify Rap has been released this past week, and we've been wanting to know, okay, what is our top artist? And some people have been complaining because it's been the same thing over and over again. Me personally, these past couple of years, I don't even remember we did like a Spotify Rap for like every single year. But Slipknot has always been my top artist for every, I don't know, consecutive 3 years, I want to say. I know last year it was Slipknot. The year before that, I want to say too, it was Slipknot. I can't remember. Like, if I could grab all of them, I would tell you right then and there. Oh, well, I started listening on Spotify, I want to say in 2016 or 2015. I can't remember. But rap wasn't really that popular as it is now. And I won't lie to you guys, I was kind of surprised when I saw my top artist for this year. But at the same time, I'm like, I figured it was gonna happen. For once in my life, Slipknot is not my top artist. So who is it? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the band that I'm mostly talking about every freaking episode that I have. So yes, 2024 is the year of Slaughter to Prevail. So let's go ahead and talk about why. Literally, the first thing I see is, you know, how many minutes I spend. I'm not going to talk about all that shenanigans. I'm going to talk about my top song. Like, what is the song that I listen to the most? And I was surprised it was Bratva. Bratva is, you know, translated to bros in Russian. And so Bratva, apparently, I was the top 0.001% because I played Bratva for 191 times. I'm surprised though, again, because when I went to Slaughter to Prevail's Instagram post, a lot of people were saying, oh yeah, I was, you know, 0.5% or 0.05% like me of the top fans. But then they explain why. And some people, like for example, listen to Viking for over 400 plays. Another played Baba Yaga for 384 times. And another fan, same way, 384 times, but for the song 1984. I'm like, damn, not even me. I was like, okay, so I guess not a lot of people listen to Bratva. But yes, Bratva was my number one song. And for the rest of the list, Baba Yaga was my number 2 song. Bone Breaker was my number 3. So literally my top 3 songs were all from the same album, same artist, you know, Slaughter to Prevail. And then number 4, Sleep Token entered the chat. Yeah. So the song Sugar, which by the way, I am obsessed with that song alongside with War. But Sugar is my number 4 top song. Number 5 though, I was so confused. Why in the hell was Boar not on here? So the 5th top song is This Fire by Killswitch Engage. I don't know, maybe it was because CM Punk came back, and instead of me listening to Culture Personality, I ended up listening to This Fire, which, by the way, a lot of us are still waiting for CM Punk to come out with that song. But at the same time, I do have some news, which I'll get into that in a bit, and it's about Howard Jones, you know, the former lead singer of Killswitch Engage. But either way, This Fire still slaps, so I was like, I guess, you know. And then they also gave me the whole summary of how many artists I listened to. I listened to a total of 340 artists. I'm like, damn, okay. Sweet Jesus, that's a lot. But at the same time, I wanted to expand my music knowledge because of you guys and keeping y'all informed. But at the same time, yes, I discovered new artists to a point that I'm like, I'm gonna listen to the song over and over again because I cannot get enough of it. And yeah, a lot of those artists are the ones that I've been talking about that have been entering my radar, you know, Kubla Khan, Sleep Token, Bad Omens. Hell, there's also like Bring Me the Horizon, Parkway Drive, and then Skillet at one point. And then Starset. Like, there's so many artists out there that will just show up on my Spotify metal mix or just any other mixes that I will listen to, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll listen to it, you know, repeatedly, but not like to a point that it's added to my favorites. But anywho, yeah, over 340 artists. Then they wrap up to my top 5 artists. And before I even get there, because we already know Slaughter Prevail was my top artist, Spotify told me that my longest listening streak of just playing Slaughter Prevail was 16 days. So you can imagine almost 2 weeks of just Slaughter to Prevail. I'm like, okay, yeah, because I really like the music. It's so good, especially when you've been exposed for it for a while. You're like, okay, I gotta listen to it over and over and over again because it's so damn good. I still listen to it, just so y'all know. Behemoth just came out, so that's been on my repeat. But at the same time, I'm like, imagine next year, because I have a feeling next year they're gonna release an album. I'm like, is Slaughter to Prevail about to be like another year of being my top artist? But anywho, yes, I was basically the 0.05 top fan, whatever you call it. So I was like, hey, does that make me special? No response, by the way, from any of the members. But anywho, Slaughter Prevail was my top artist for this year. Number 2 was Ghost. I'm like, Ghost has been hanging in there. Like, it's not gonna be number 1 at one point because last year it was still number 2, I think. And then sitting at number 3, all dethroned and everything, Slipknot. I was surprised, but then again, I got to see Slipknot live literally in September, so that makes sense. So I'm like, okay. And then number 4, it surprised me, but then again, I blame a few songs that were so catchy. Number 4 is Bad Omens. Bad Omens entered my radar a while ago. I blame one person, and I'm not going to mention it just yet. But yeah, I wanted to listen to Bad Omens just to, you know, get an idea of what am I listening to. And plus, we started talking about them, especially whenever they released a song called Van, you know, that features Poppy. And I listened to Poppy, so I'm like, okay, we'll give it a chance. It was so good. It was catchy. Let's listen to Bad Omens. I was just not expecting for them to make it to my top 5. So, yeah. But yeah, Bad Omens is number 4. And then, unfortunately, sitting at the bottom of the list, but my top 5, and no surprise, Rammstein. So I'm like, haha, my top 4 favorite artists still made it to the top 5, but then Bad Omens. I still would not consider Bad Omens nor Sleep Token like a part of the top 5 of my favorite bands. No, because my taste in music always changes. But when there's a particular artist that I love, I will listen to all of their albums and everything. I will consider them my top of the list. And that's why Slipknot will still remain top 1 because we got that history. But this is, you know, without Spotify rap and whatnot. And then Ghost, Rammstein, and Slaughter Prevail can just fight it out for either of those other spots. But they will all be my top 4 favorite artists. So yeah, I'm really happy that I got to see it. I mean, obviously, like I said, when I tell you guys what are my top 4 favorite bands, Spotify rap can even tell me right then and there because it's obvious. But once we all got our Spotify rap list, and then I think Apple Music also has their own thing, everybody started talking about how short this year was compared to last year. Like somebody took a screenshot of the story slides, how many there were in 2023 compared to 2024. And one in particular, I think what we had this year was what phase we were in certain months. So like, for example, me on January, I was in my witchy instrumental phase with Ghost, Bad Omens, and I forgot what the other band was. And then on the other ones from last year, it would tell you, oh, you listen to this, you were taught this. This was your favorite genres. I remember the genres last year, and they didn't do that this year. But a lot of people were just like, I feel like Spotify is just not carrying anymore. But at the same time, it was overhyped. I don't know. I think for me, I would have loved to see the genres again. I'm pretty sure it would have been metal or something like it was last year, but we'll see how it'll be next year. But I hope you guys did enjoy y'all Spotify rap. I know one friend, I'm gonna shout him out. I don't think he listens to the podcast, but if my friend Ryan is listening, I got to see his Spotify rep, and he literally said it was a repeat from last year. And I think it speaks for everybody who has been listening to the same thing over and over again. Because again, like for me, for the past couple of years, my top artist has always been Slipknot, but then a few bands here and there. And now this year, it finally changed because of Slaughter to Prevail. But everybody else has been listening to the same music over and over again. So it's like Spotify rap is kind of pointless because it's just going to be the same analytics that they got last year. So yeah, that was kind of hilarious. But by the way, Ryan's top artist was Sleep Token and then Bad Omens after that. And I'm like, they enter my radar. Now they're in my rap. But you know, that's that. But anywho, yeah, again, I hope you guys did enjoy that rap. And we'll see how next year's going to be. So let's go ahead and move it along. In case you guys didn't hear, this was announced last week, literally during Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving. But Sick New World has canceled their 2025 festival. And that was the one that was going to be co-headlined by Metallica and Linkin Park. So the thing that they released was this big statement that says, Festival Update. It is with great disappointment that we announce that Sick New World will no longer take place in Las Vegas on April 12, 2025. Despite our best efforts, we've encountered unforeseen circumstances that we're unable to overcome for next year's show. We extend our heartfelt thanks to all the dedicated Sick New World fans who have made plans to join us for another cultural celebration of hard rock, goth, alternative, and heavy music. Please stay tuned for further and future information regarding Sick New World. Tickets purchased directly from Front Gate Tickets will be automatically refunded to the original method of payment in as little as 30 days. So my thing was, what could be the reason why Sick New World was canceled? I assume that Sick New World was just getting low ticket sales, especially from the feedback that all the fans that did attended. It's like horrible conditions, but not as bad as Coachella. At the same time, I looked at, for example, on rockfeed.net, that's where I got the news from, where on the comment section, one person by the name of Shawnee Styles 1, I think I'm pronouncing that right, they said building a sports stadium at that location in the future is probably the reason why. And I'm like, oh God, are you serious? But then Rockbeat commented back and saying that supposedly that the sports stadium is not happening at this lot and is ways off from there. But then other people are saying, well, it might be another thing. And rockfeed.net is like saying, oh, but it will have to be publicly approved. And then I kept scrolling more just to see, okay, maybe there's a fact somewhere in the comment section. And all of a sudden I run into Ronnie Radke's comment and he's like, Vienna sausages. And I'm like, I can hear it in his voice too. It's another way of saying shit. But yeah, no, I still can't find like the actual reason why they could possibly cancel. Like I have my theories and whatnot. Some people are saying, oh no, like it was sold out. They sold enough tickets. But some people are like, no, they didn't. So I don't know. And since I mentioned Ronnie Radke, let's go ahead and move it along with the next news. So Falling in Reverse had no choice but to postpone their UK shows because they denied entry on Ronnie Radke's visa, all because of the whole thing that he was in prison for. So they posted this major update on their social media, and it says, "We regret to announce that the Home Office has denied Ronnie's visa application for the remaining 2024 UK shows, which is December 4th all the way to the 16th. And it says the UK is currently refusing entry to visa applicants who serve more than 12 months prison time, as Ronnie did in 2008. Therefore, we will not be able to come to the UK this month to perform the shows we were greatly looking forward to. We will be postponing the shows to next year while we continue to work through this issue legally to obtain the necessary visa. We will keep you posted as we know more. For anyone who cannot attend the new dates, refunds are available at point of purchase. Thanks everyone for your support, and we hope to see you next year." And that's where you should insert Ronnie Radke's comment, Vienna sausages. But some people are already discussing on the comment section saying like, hey, why would you even book a headline tour knowing that you're gonna get denied? But other people are on the defense saying like, that's the thing, you could get pre-approved or like, I guess, promised that you might be able to renew the visa, but then they'll deny you at the moment of application. So yeah, I don't know about that whole thing, but at the end of the day, I'm not in the UK. Hopefully, you know, again, if they do end up postponing and setting the actual date, they will still be able to sell out just like they previously did when they first announced the tour. So we'll see. In other news, the Billboard Music Awards have finally released their nominees, and I need to talk about certain categories. One in particular, top hard rock album. We got Bring Me the Horizon, Posthuman, Next Gen. And then we also have Falling in Reverse, Popular Monsters. But then we have Hardy with Quit. I never heard of that. Yeah. I need to listen to it. And then I also didn't know Pearl Jam released an album. Yeah, I'm over here thinking, and I'm like, nope, doesn't ring a bell. But, you know, they got nominated for the album Dark Matter. And then Sleep Token got nominated. And this one is for the album Take Me Back to Eden. So we'll see on that one. And then we have for top hard artists, we have 3 of them for some reason. We have Bad Omens, Hardy, and Linkin Park. And I'm like, shouldn't there be more? But this is where it gets interesting. Top hard rock song. We got Falling in Reverse featuring Jelly Roll with All My Life. But then we also have another Falling in Reverse. And this one is with Tech 9 and Alex Terrible for Rollin'. I have a feeling hopefully that one will win. And then we have Hardy with the song Psycho. Linkin Park, which I also have a feeling this one might win because of favoritism, but it got nominated for The Emptiness Machine. And then Superhaven with Youngest Daughter. And this is where I question everything, because for top rock song, not hard rock, just rock itself, we got Zach Bryan with Pink Skies. And then the next one is Zach Bryan featuring Casey Musgroves with I Remember Everything. Yeah, I'm getting pissy right now. I'm like, how? But then we got, I don't know if it's Bicho, you know, Joe Carey's band. But he got nominated for The End of Beginning, which I like that song. Hopefully he wins it. But then we also have Hozier with Too Sweet. Also love that song. Hopefully he wins. And then the last one is Noah Khan with Stick Season. And then top rock artists, we got Zach Bryan, Hozier. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. But then we have Jelly Roll. I'm like, what? I thought he was country. Why is he even in here? But I don't know. That's Billboard Music Awards for y'all. And then we also have Noah Kahan and then Linkin Park. So I'm like, we'll see. We'll see. Top rock album, we got Zach Bryan with The Great American Bar Scene. Zach Bryan again for Zach Bryan. What the hell? Like, that's what it says on here. And then we have Hozier with Unheard, Noah Kahan with Stick Season, and then Dolly Parton with Rockstar. Yeah. And then we have top rock duo / group category, and it's only 3. We got Good Neighbors, Linkin Park, and the Red Clay Strays. At this point, I'm rooting for Linkin Park. And then we have top duo slash group, and this one is like uncategorized. It doesn't say rock or anything. And it's Blink 182, Coldplay, and then this threw me off, but Fuerza Regida, yeah. And then Linkin Park and Stray Kids, so yeah. But we won't hear the winners until Thursday, December 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then it's gonna be on Fox, so I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. We'll see. Now, I know I mentioned Sleep Token, and I'm like, you know what? Before I forget, I need to talk about this really quick. So they wrapped up their sold out European tour. Literally, they did so much than expected, that to a point that I've been seeing a lot of clips on my TikTok feed. And they're hilarious, by the way, because from what I remember in the beginning stages of Sleep Token, they were more serious, you know, worship, this, and that. And when I got to see these clips, you know, in their final stop, which happens to be, I think it was in London, if I remember correctly. Like, I don't know if y'all seen it, but there was a clip of one of the people, I don't know if they were like backstage employees, whatever. He was playing the Switch, and he's like slowly being risen up through a platform, and then he realizes like, oh wait, there's like a whole crowd in front of me. Turns around, and then Vessel, you know, the lead singer, comes up from behind him, and while, you know, they're doing like, I guess, the guitar solo or like a little break, you see the guy hand the Switch to Vessel, and Vessel's like over there playing. I'm like, what is this? You know what? At this point, that wraps up my 2024 bingo card. But it was so hilarious. And a lot of people in the comment section were saying, like, all I want to think of is Vessel just showing this guy, like, his Animal Crossing island. And I'm like, yes, I'm all for it. Then there's another clip where Vessel, my boy, he just goes, crouches down in crawling mode, I guess you would say. And the guitarist, he just sits on Vessel while performing a solo, and Vessel's like crawling just a little bit. And I'm like, what am I seeing? But there was another clip where homeboy, you know, Ford just sits on Vessel, and Vessel's just like crouched down, whatever, and he's just staring at the floor. And I'm like, it's hilarious. So I'm like, I love how they're just fooling around. Oh, and don't even get me started with the confetti cannon. I kept seeing a lot of band members just passing confetti cannons, and I don't know what the whole deal was, but it was hilarious. So I'm like, I like them. I like that they're bringing humor into this and just expanding their horizons when not just keeping it uniform with what they have now. So I love it. And because of this, Metal Hammer wrote an article of why they fully support that Sleep Token should still headline Download Festival. So I haven't read it because, you know me, I fall asleep. But definitely check it out if you guys are big on Sleep Token or just need to be persuaded on why they should headline. But anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. Now, I mentioned Howard Jones. Let's talk about it. So he made an announcement that he's going to be creating a new band with another former Killswitch Engage bandmate, Adam D, and they're calling it Burn Eternal. Now, we have mentioned, you know, in previous topics where whenever like band members leave the original band and they create new ones, the music style is always different. It's never the same. So my expectations are kind of low. But then again, Howard Jones has that voice that, oh my God, like whenever he goes, like whenever I was listening to This Fire, like the way how he's like, even through the darkest days, I'm like, damn, you know? So I feel like he can still bring it. I'm just hoping that it's still, you know, rock, like heavy. And not like a little bit, what do you call it? Like instrumental or classical, you know, stuff like that. Because I get bored. I want heavy. So we'll see if they ever do release new music. And we'll probably analyze it, including the lyrics. So yeah, we'll go ahead and check that out soon. Now, there are more music news I really wanted to talk about. But because we're slowly approaching the hour time, I was like, oh my God, let's just talk about the tour announcements. But if you guys do have time, definitely check out Metal Hammer's 50 Best Metal Albums of 2024 and see if you agree with the list. So yeah. Anywho, so already we have major tour announcements. One of them was Spirit Box. That one came at a surprise. But now they're going to be headlining their very own North American tour. They're going to be joined with Loath, Dying Wish, and Gel. So they're going to be kicking off their tour on April 3rd in Dallas, Texas. And then April 4th in San Antonio and April 5th in Houston. But then they're going to head to Atlanta on April 7th and so forth and so forth. I'm not going to go on with all of the lists. But they're going to be ending their tour on May 10th of next year in Los Angeles, California. But they also did highlight it that there will be no Gel performing on there. So there's that. So if you guys are interested, the tickets are already on sale. So definitely go check it out if you guys want to attend. The next tour announcement is Stained and Breaking Benjamin. So they're going to be joined with Wage War and Lakeview. This one, they're going to be kicking off their tour called Awaken the Fallen. But it's going to start off on April 26th in Brandon, Mississippi. That kind of like threw me off. But here's the thing. The more I look at the dates, I was like, wait a second. There's only 2 Texas stops and they're going to be in May. One of them is in Lubbock. That's like an 8-hour drive. Like, it's far for us. So that's how you know Texas is huge. But then the next one is May 7th in San Antonio. So I'm like, I'm tempted. We'll see. And I was surprised that there's 2 Alabama stops. One in Orange Beach, Alabama, and the other one in Huntsville, Alabama. So this is not your ordinary like top cities. It's like small towns. So yeah, it's different. But they're going to be ending their tour on June 1st in Kansas City, Missouri. So if you guys are interested in attending, tickets are also on sale. The next tour announcement, I wasn't planning on talking about it, but then again, when have we talked about Pierce the Veil? And I'm pretty sure some listeners listen to that band. But they announced their I Can't Hear You World Tour, and it's going to be kicking off next year in May. So they're going to be joined with Sleeping with Sirens, Beachwater, and Daisy Grenade. The first date happens to be on May 13 at Charlotte, North Carolina. We do have a stop here in Houston, but so far there hasn't been like any other places outside North America. So I'm like, is it really a world tour? Unless if they're planning to announce it later on, next year. So we'll see on that one. The next one, Pearl Jam. We've been talking about it right now whenever we were talking about the Billboard Music Awards. But yes, they announced a tour which only has a couple of days. We got April 24th to the 26th at Hollywood, Florida. Then we have April 29th and May 1st in Atlanta. And then May 6th to May 8th at Nashville. May 11th and May 13th at Raleigh, North Carolina. And then lastly, we have May 16 and 18 at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm like, I might have to travel to Atlanta at one point if I want to see them live, but that's until next year. So we'll see. But yeah, the tour, it's really small, but at the same time, I don't know if they're going to do any more. So stay tuned for that one. Then we have another band that's going to be heading to Australia next year. And that is The Offspring with their Supercharged Worldwide in 25. And they're going to be joined with Simple Plan. So Adelaide, Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. If you guys are listening, you guys are going to be getting some dates kicking off on May 4th and then ending on May 14th. And those tickets are already on sale, so get them while you can. And then the last tour announcement before we go to the gaming category. And this one, I'm like, it's AC/DC. I mean, that's for the oldies. So yeah, they announced a North American stadium tour. Like, all of these bands are going stadium now. Forget the arenas. But they're going to be kicking off their tour on April 10th again next year in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We do have only one Texas stop, and that happens to be in Dallas on the 14th of April, and that will be at the AT&T Stadium. And then they're going to be ending the tour on May 28th at Cleveland, Ohio at the Huntington Bank Field. Here's where it gets interesting. I was surprised until I read it now. But they're going to be joined with the Pretty Reckless. Yeah, so I'm like, I kind of want to see Pretty Reckless, but not AC/DC. So I'm like, I'll wait. So there's that. And with that being said, that wraps up the music category. Again, I wanted to talk about other things, but oh my god, look at the time now. So let's go ahead and move it to the gaming category. Now, remember, like a couple episodes ago, if you guys have been listening for this long, I mentioned that handheld consoles are the future. Already, we're getting news that even Sony is working on a new portable PlayStation. So I'm like, ugh. This is where I would just trade up all my consoles and go handheld at this point, because it's so convenient. That's why I'm like, I'd rather just have like the video game like right in front of me instead of me having to sit for so long in a chair playing video games. That's why I get bored and tired. So we'll see whenever that's gonna be coming soon, but I feel like, again, it's gonna be years ahead of us. Like Xbox even said it, like they're not having it anytime soon, so I'm pretty sure PlayStation's also not gonna have it anytime soon. So in the meantime, I would just continue playing my Nintendo Switch just like Vessel. And then the other thing I also wanted to talk about, more reasons of why I hate Fortnite. So I did not know this, but Godzilla got a skin in Fortnite, and I'm pissed. Why? Because you can actually put the most cringiest emotes for Godzilla and he will do it. There's one where he's just dancing, you know. This I don't know how to explain it to you guys. I haven't played Fortnite in a while, but you can already imagine the emotes and then the Godzilla skin. It would make sense why, like, Legendary or, you know, Warner Brothers, whatever, are probably gonna be like, let's make more Godzilla movies just like the one that we had, the last one that was so cringy, and still incorporate like the Fortnite emotes. I'll be so pissed. I'm like, I'm suing Fortnite, but not really, you know, jokingly. But either way, I'm like, fuck it, we got Godzilla dancing in Fortnite before GTA 6. Now let's go ahead and talk about that. Guys, if you think about it, it's been a year since we got the GTA 6 trailer. And then I think about it because I remember we talked about that last year. So I'm like, damn, I've been consistent about this podcast that it doesn't feel surreal to me that we've been doing it for so long now. But still, we talked about the trailer and now it's like we're here at the end of 2024 and we're just like, what the fuck, you know? And people are still wanting to get more clues, like, hey, are we still gonna be getting it in 2025? Like, it better not be delayed. And the worst part is that we haven't gotten a new trailer for the update. So people are worried, like, we're probably not gonna be getting GTA 6 anymore. But here's the other thing. There is news from IGN that they talked to a former Rockstar developer, and his name is Mike York, and he said that the studio is enjoying watching fans cook up wild theories about when the next GTA 6 trailer will come out. Apparently, this whole waiting out the game, leaving just no updates and all of that is making us get worried, but for them, they call it like a good marketing tactic, and I'm like, no. Like, we did it with Spotify Rap, if you think about it. But at the same time, I know fans are going to lose it whenever we do get some kind of update about GTA 6. But at the same time, at the end of the day, we're going to get bored and we just want the game right then and there. Like, at the end of the day, like, as the day gets closer, we need to make sure, like, okay, we need confirmation that it's going to come out. It better not get delayed. And if it gets delayed, guess what? The fans are going to get pissed. So that's the whole discussion about it. But at the end of the day, I ramble so much about it. Now let's go ahead and talk about wrestling. Moving along. So ESPN released their top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 for today. And the number one spot is going to shock you. So let's go ahead and kick off that list really quick. We got number 30. It's sitting at Yuma Ansai. I actually don't know who that is, so forgive me for the wrestling fans. 29, we got Dragon Lee. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. 28, we got Shun Skywalker. 27, Jamie Hayter. 26, Julia Hart, which I'm surprised they're right there next to each other. Number 25, we got Utami Hayashishira. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't even know. I'm so sorry. Number 24, we got Gabe Kidd. Number 23, we got Yuma Aoyagi. Number 22, Logan Paul. I'm like, why is he in this list? Is he even considered a wrestler? He's considered an entertainer. But then again, yeah, he's learning to wrestle, so I guess. Anywho, number 21, we got Wheeler Yuta. And then number 20, we got Roxanne Perez. I'm like, oh, okay, starting to get there. Number 19, we got Mascara Dorada 2.0. Number 18, we got Tiffany Stratton. 17, we got Hook. I was surprised by number 16 because I did not know she was under 30. But we got at the number 16 spot, Jordan Grace. I'm like, what? 15, I am assuming is Austin Theory because that's the only person I can think of. But they have it as Theory. So, anywho. Number 14, we got Chris Statlander. Number 13, we got El Hijo del Vikingo. Number 12, we got Kaito Kiyomiya. I'm sorry, I'm butchering these names. Number 11, we got Braun Breaker. Number 10, we got Shota Umino. Number 9 is Daniel Garcia. Number 8, Kyle Fletcher. Number 7, Jack Perry. Number 6, I was surprised. Again, I did not know he was under 30. But we got Konosuke Takeshita. Number 5 is Mariah May. Number 4, Rhea Ripley. But then number 3, I was like, wait, what? I think Rhea Ripley should have been at least number 2, in my opinion. But number 3, Toni Storm. Number 2, MJF. And then finally, ESPN's top wrestler under 30th happens to be Dominic Mysterio. What? Like, I don't know. That's them. I'm not gonna argue. But at the same time, like, Dominic grew on me this past year. So props to him. He's at his top spot. So I guess we'll go ahead and applaud him for that. All right, let's go ahead and move it along. In good news for WWE, Pat McAfee is returning to WWE full-time, and I'm assuming it'll be next year whenever Raw is on Netflix. So I'm like, hooray, I low-key miss him, but I would also like to see him with Michael Cole because they make an amazing duo. I'm like, oh, I miss it. Please let it happen soon. But yeah, I can't wait to see him back because he also grew on me. And speaking of Raw, I want to mention really quick, this past episode, like this past Monday that just happened, literally the talking segments had my chest hurting. Like, it was insane. They kicked it off with Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn. I think, Seth Rollins was over there just upset over the fact that, like CM Punk joined in. Because CM Punk was the one that kicked off Raw, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But, because they won during the Survivor Series War Games match, Seth Rollins is over there like upset, like, oh my god, you of all people, more reasons why I gotta hate you, because he ended up joining the Bloodline. At the same time, Seth is over there attacking CM Punk. I don't remember if they fought, but then Jay and Sammy came out, and then Seth got, even worse, because the week before that, he told Sammy and Jay, like, I respect y'all, but I don't respect Roman, so that's why I'm not joining in. So back to this past episode, Sammy was over there telling Seth Rollins off, like, bro, like, I came to you for help, not once but twice, and you said no. And then Seth's over there like, but you created a monster. But then Sammy's like, no, you created the monster because you were the one that first backstabbed him in the back when you gave him that chair shot. And I'm like, and oh my god, they went back and forth like crazy, but they both had reasons for it. And I'm like, oh my god, and it was funny because I was thinking about this whole shenanigans, and I'm like, eventually Kevin Owens is also going to be upset over Sammy about this whole dilemma, because right now Kevin Owens is upset at Cody for the same reason that Cody had Roman's back. And he even mentioned it on this past Friday. He's like, Sammy, that's gonna be something else in the future. And I'm like, like, it's so many storylines that Papa H created just with the bloodline itself. Like, this is bloodline extended. It has nothing to do with Roman. It has nothing to do with Solo. It's just everybody who has clashed with the bloodline before uniting with them all of a sudden. So I'm like, oh my god, applauding Papa H as best booker of 2024. Literally. Okay, but that was one segment. And then later that episode on Raw, we had another segment with the New Day. Like, there's been tensions already, and I was like, oh, it's predictable, where either Xavier Woods is gonna betray Kofi, or Kofi was gonna be like bashing on Xavier Woods and, you know, taking a page out of the book. Yeah, that stuff. But they were celebrating their 10th anniversary, and I'm just like, are they gonna bring in Biggie? And Biggie showed up, and keep in mind, he's still injured. He still has not been medically cleared to compete. So he comes out, he's over there trying to clear the air, whatever. And he said, yeah, I may be out of the ring, but while I'm still here, I will make sure to remind y'all, like, you guys are brothers, you know, you got families, we toured together, like, we competed together, this and that, we got history. And so we're not gonna break that just because, you know, I'm out of injury. But then Xavier was like, no, fuck your neck. Like, and I was like, oh, wait, okay, you know, well, we knew Xavier was gonna bash on Big E. But then Kofi bashed on Big E. And that's where my chest started hurting again. And I'm like, hold up. Like, no, not Kofi. And bro, they betrayed him. Like, they betrayed Big E. And it looks like the New Day is kind of going heel. But I have a feeling they're going to say, you know what, fuck the New Day, let's create our new tag team, because the New Day was with Big E, so they're going to move away from that and, you know, move away from the New Day. And with that being said, rumor had it was that the original plan was to make the New Day heel and having Odyssey Jones replace Big E. But because they released Odyssey Jones, they left that whole storyline just hanging. And now it's starting to unravel, which again, Papa Age, again, making this all happen for us. But yeah, I don't know how tomorrow's gonna be. But at the same time, I'm gonna start popping Tylenol pills because of all of this. It's intense. Raw is getting really good. And then SmackDown too, with that whole segment that happened again between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. So we'll see how that's gonna unravel this coming Saturday at Saturday night's main event. And then another news I also wanted to talk about, you know, it was all late, but we finally got the reveal of the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I'm surprised they kept the blue. Like, you know, they introduced the blue whenever Jey Uso had the championship, and I thought they were going to remove it, but I'm surprised they kept it and they incorporated it on the new belt for the women's. And yeah, it's the same way, same design, except the back is made of white leather. And already they have the tournament, and so far I only saw one match, which was Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, and Katana Chance, which I was surprised Dakota Kai ended up winning. My money was on Shayna Baszler, so I'm like, we'll see. So now the next one, we still need to see Zoe Stark versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Kaden Carter. That one, I have a feeling Raquel's gonna win. I mean, I was rooting for Zoe, but because of what happened with Shayna, I don't think that's gonna happen. Definitely Kaden Carter, no, that's not gonna work. On the other side of the bracket, we got Lyra Valkyria versus Selena Vega versus Ivy Nile. And that one is really intense for me to pick, but I really want Lyra to win. So we'll see. And then the next one is kind of lame, but it's Alba Fire versus Kairi Sane versus Natalya. And I have a feeling Kairi Sane is going to win, but she's probably not going to make it to the final. That would have been interesting though, Dakota Kai versus Kairi Sane, but we'll see. Out of everybody, so far, nobody has favorites on who could be the first Intercontinental Women's Champion. Me personally, I would love to see Lyra win it all, but there's also a high chance Raquel could win, and then, you know, Judgment Day, it's gonna be dominant. But at the same time, it looks like Finn is gonna betray soon everybody. I have that feeling, so that's the storyline with them. And then the next one, we already got the finals for the Women's United States Championship tournament. And it's going to be Bayley versus Chelsea Green. And then on the other side of the bracket is Michin versus Tiffany Stratton. And people are still thinking Chelsea is going to win it all. But the champion will be determined this coming Saturday at Saturday night's main event. And with that being said, we already got some matches confirmed for that pay-per-view. And I got some theories. And oh my God, I'll try to wrap it up as soon as I can. But we already know Jesse Ventura confirmed that he will be on commentary duty just like how he did before. And the matches, like I mentioned, is going to be Cody versus Kevin Owens, Gunther versus Finn Balor, which I already know Gunther is going to retain on this one. I don't think Finn Balor is gonna be champion anytime soon. I get it. He still has that whole storyline with the Judgment Day, potentially betraying Dominic and then who knows who else. But yeah, those are the ones that we already know so far. Just 3 matches. But yeah, and then I think Cody's gonna retain. But people are thinking, oh, how come Kevin Owens could just defeat Cody Rhodes just this once? Let him have a short reign, and then Cody can go back to being champion for Royal Rumble and then WrestleMania and whatever. Which, honestly, though, is anybody else bored of Cody Rhodes being champion? Because I am, and it's not healthy. So, yeah, there's that. But anywho, I really wanted to talk about the results of Survivor Series War Games, but because it's been a while ago, all I gotta say is on the results for the Women's War Games champion, I really want Rhea to go back as champion, because this whole thing with Liv Morgan, I don't know, y'all. She's been losing matches. Like, I get it. Whenever it comes to a champion, it tends to be like an undefeated streak. But Liv, it's like she lost. I think she lost it with Tiffany Stratton. I can't remember. But it was right before War Games. And then on this match, you know, Rhea Ripley ended up pinning her. Other than that, the only time Liv Morgan wins is by the help of other people. So it's like, yeah, we're bored, annoyed. So, yeah, let Rhea have the championship again. And then Rhea debuted a new look with her face cover, but it's kind of like an ode to her hubby, Buddy Matthews, in AEW. And everybody's making like fan art, which is amazing, by the way. So I love it. But it looks like the mask is off. Maybe she'll still bring it in the ring, but then take it off whenever she enters. I don't know. Like, I love the mask. I love the new look. So hopefully she keeps bringing it. And then I was surprised that Shinsuke Nakamura ended up defeating LA Knight. Like, when me and Fiend Warrior and everybody else that joined in the watch party, I was like, oh, LA Knight's gonna retain, like, all confident. And him and his friends are over there saying, no, like, it's gonna be Shinsuke. Like, we love the new look. We love this whole gimmick. And I'm like, yeah, but let the gimmick shine in order to reward it. But all of a sudden, I got proven wrong. And I was like, hold up. Wait, you know, I was in shock. But at the same time, Papa H knows what he's doing. So, yeah, that was crazy, honestly. And then the Bloodline War Games, that was another interesting match that I really wanted to touch base on. I'm not going to talk about every single detail that just happened. I just want to talk about the damn injuries, because sweet Jesus, 3 people got injured in that match. Honestly, I thought Jacob Fatu was going to be injured as well, because Homeboy was struggling with his knee. But no, he showed up on Friday Night SmackDown this past episode and he was fine. So I'm like, okay. But the people that got injured was Tonga Loa. He ended up having a torn bicep. Jimmy Uso ended up having a broken toe, because when he landed on people, I can't remember who, you can see how his toes just bent the other way. And I'm like, oh, that looks so painful, you know. So there was that. And then the last one was Bronson Reed. That one shocked me to my core, because he was so high up and he was about to land on Roman Reigns, but then CM Punk saved him. But when you look closely, when Bronson Reed landed, you can see his ankle just, you know, and I'm like, oh my God. Honestly, those wrestlers have my respects. I mean, Tonga Loa, I guess. It was funny. We were all joking around, because when Tonga Loa was entering, you know, the cage and whatnot, I'm like, everybody save yourselves, an injury is in this way, you know. And yeah, sorry about that, but at the same time, I'm like, damn. No, honestly, all major props to all of those wrestlers. Sweet Jesus. But unfortunately, they're going to be out indefinitely, so we don't know when they're going to be coming back. So yeah, there's that. And then to basically celebrate the winning of the OG Bloodline, we were all dying on social media when CM Punk literally posted the damn picture of Roman, Jimmy, and Jay when they were, you know, teenagers. And then people inserted or, you know, photoshopped Sammy in that picture. But then CM Punk's like, let me add myself and Paul Heyman on here. And you can see like Paul Heyman's picture like in black and white. And everybody was like, hold up, like we got this post before GTA 6. I'm like, stop. stop, y'all. You're killing me here. But like the way how CM Punk tagged it as he said Dangerous Alliance, and I'm like, I can't. Literally, I love this picture. If I could make it my wallpaper, I could, but I can never do Cosmo like that. But yeah, Survivor Series War Games is one of the main reasons why I love the PLE so much. So yeah, it was so much fun, especially whenever you watch with people. Mwah. Chef's kiss on that one. Now, the last thing that I need to talk about before we wrap up this episode is some of the results of NXT Deadline. I only wanted to talk about 2 matches, and it's technically the last ones. I want to talk about the match for the NXT Championship, Trick Williams versus Rich Holland. On one of the matches, right before it was about to wrap up, there was a moment where Trick Williams like literally got himself stuck in between the ropes, and it was on his neck side. I was freaking out. I think you could tell by Rich's expression, like he was kind of freaking out too. The ref quickly shouted at Rich like, stop, don't move. People were like concerned, like, because those ropes are really strong, especially the pressure that it holds. So Trick's over there, you know, holding on to his life, like not to let go of the ropes because he can just easily choke for a while. And the ref was trying so much to like untangle him, and then all of a sudden, you know, Trick managed to get out. But oh, I was like so scared. And I don't know, because of that, they were like saying, oh, you know what, wrap up the match, because that's what happened. But Trick Williams ended up retaining the NXT Championship, and I don't know how Tuesday's gonna go, if we're gonna see him on a neck brace. But I'm praying and hoping he didn't get injured with that, because my boy is in his prime. He cannot lose the championship just yet. But yeah. And then the last one that I wanted to talk about is the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge. I was surprised that every single women wrestler ended up having a point. I was like, really? And I thought it was 30 minutes, but it turned out to be 25 minutes of them to see who scored the most pins. Unfortunately, Ren Sinclair was the only one that was getting pinned the most. It was so sad to watch, but I was also surprised when I found out she got the pin on somebody. I forgot who. But yeah, everybody was tied, and then the time was getting closer and closer. And I was like, okay, somebody needs to get a pin before the time is up. But again, I was assuming by 30 minutes, that was it. But no, Julia managed to get the final pin to set her score at 2 while everybody else was at 1. And right as soon as she got the pin, Stephanie Vaquera was like trying to get the last pin too, to kind of get it tied. But unfortunately, she was short by a couple of seconds, and Julia ended up winning. So it's gonna be Julia versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. And I don't know when that's gonna happen. I feel like that's gonna be probably next year or so, but we'll keep you guys posted. And either way, I want to say major props to Sol Ruca, because sweet Jesus, the way how she will move like in the ring, I was like, homegirl needs a championship. Like, she's really good at being an athlete. So I feel like maybe, hopefully, North American Championship, maybe in the summertime, because it will be her era, but we'll see. And with that being said, that wraps up this week's episode. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow my TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. Sweet Jesus. I don't know if it's really happening, but again, the TikTok kind of is slowly approaching to 2K followers. Yeah, I don't know if it's, you know, the wrestling video, God knows what, but I'm really happy to everybody that has been following me on my TikTok account. And also, I don't want to say it just yet, but I think Zilla Fatu is following me on my TikTok. I don't know. Like, okay, this happened after the watch party and I saw the account. It looks legit, but at the same time, I still have my doubts. So thank you, Zilla. If you are following me, just so you know, I'm a huge fan. I'm rooting for your success. So, and he's a Houstonian. We talked about it before. So yeah, there's that. But thank you, Zilla. Hopefully it's actually you that's following me on my TikTok. I'm honored, you know. But yes, everybody else, please follow the social media accounts. I'm really excited to see what I'm gonna bring next year. I'm not saying, oh yeah, this is my final episode for 2025. No. We'll be back next week. We gotta talk about more other things that I probably didn't get a chance to talk about on this episode, because yeah, we're getting closer to an hour and a half of just talking. And if you made it this far, again, thank you, because oh my god, that Spotify rap really it made me so happy. So I'm really hopeful that some of you guys did manage to listen to the end of this episode. And again, next week we're gonna talk about more shenanigans. I don't know what, maybe actors on actors, maybe more things that are happening in wrestling, but you know, I will be back. I will say this though, because Christmas is also slowly approaching. The following week is gonna be on December the 22nd. Yes, there will not be an episode, but I will be back on the 29th. We will be wrapping up the year together. So there's that. But yeah, no, I'm definitely not gonna do an episode on December 22nd because it's gonna be Christmas. I need my break. I actually have a really long break from work too. So yeah, we need some me time. And then on the 29th, stay tuned because I do have a major announcement. And it's not, you know, podcast related, but kinda in a way. It's basically what my next blog video is gonna be about. So yeah, stay tuned. But that will be in a couple of weeks. But I will be back again next week to talk about everything that you may have missed. So as always, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.